Hey everybody, back for another episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. If you have any suggestions for our next topics, please feel free to share them. Billions of people around the world, by choice or by circumstance, live off a very high carbohydrate diet. We all know this, we all see this. What contributes to this is what we're going to talk about today. And what vitamins do high carbohydrate dieters need to combat the negative effects of that diet? A high carb diet isn't just a trend for now. It's been going on for a while. And the reality is for billions of people worldwide. But it could be silently harming their health. And that's what we're going to discuss today. Discover what vitamins you need to fight back. And we're going to discuss that and go into depth about it. Are there any special requirements for those on a high carbohydrate diet?
Without a doubt.
Okay.
There's a whole bank of nutrients, both vitamins and minerals, that are necessary for the metabolism and utilization of carbohydrate foods. So therefore, the higher those foods are consumed in amounts, the more nutrients theoretically one would need. And what is really nasty about this whole thing is that the majority of high carbohydrate foods are made up from a highly refined flour.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got breads, cakes, pies, cookies, all of that business, right? And in the process of refining wheat into that white powder we call flour,
Yeah.
virtually all the nutrients are stripped away in the process.
Yeah.
So now we have a highly concentrated, high energy source food with virtually no nutrition. Now you might say, but when I go to the supermarket, I buy enriched flour.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you how that works.
Is that the same as enriched bread, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What happens is that the wheat kernel has offers about 14 nutrients.
Yeah.
They strip all 14 out and put 4 back.
Yeah.
And that's called enriched.
Yeah.
I don't feel rich by that at all.
It doesn't. So, I mean, all people should be taking a full spectrum supplement, but specifically people on a high carbohydrate diet really need a full spectrum supplement that they're going to absorb. So that's why you've always often recommended a liquid vitamin for those people.
Yes, because of the absorption factor. Because liquid supplements can absorb and you be utilized up to 85%. And other forms is down below 50 in many cases.
Yeah. And so the high vitality liquid from Phoenix Nutritionals and or the high vitality capsules from Phoenix Nutritionals, you would, of course, you created those, so you would, of course, say that those would be the ones to choose. How important is it, or should I say, how long does it take to see the benefits from taking a full spectrum liquid vitamin like that?
It depends on how messed up you are.
Okay.
If you've been deficient for a long period of time, you'll probably notice a difference rather quickly.
Yeah.
But if you haven't been, or if you're younger and still in the mindset that you are invincible, you might not see as dramatic an effect because we don't have that far to go back to optimal.
But eventually, if you're on a high carbohydrate diet and you continue to not do anything about that, you'll be able to see it a lot sooner.
Oh, sure. And I think it's a good idea to mention some of the nutrients that are important for metabolizing high carbs.
Okay.
First of all and foremost, the B complex.
Yeah.
They're all required. B1, B2, niacin, folic acid, even to a lesser extent pantothenic acid, are all required for the utilization and metabolizing of carbohydrates. In the mineral arena, we have chromium, vanadium, aspartic acid, which are all utilized and consumed at a much higher rate in people who consume a high refined carbohydrate diet, which means that those people actually need more than others.
Yeah. So carbs might be cheap and they might be filling, and they can leave your body for starving for key nutrients. What vitamins contribute to keep you energized and healthy on a high carbohydrate diet?
First and foremost,
the ones you just mentioned,
the B complex.
Yeah. And so, is it better? I see this debate online of, oh, well, I don't need to take a supplement because I get all my nutrients from food, and we completely debunk that in many of our videos, and you've debunked that for over 30 years. How do key nutrients, how do vitamin and minerals improve athletic performance?
Well, when you're talking about athletic performance, you're talking about two things. You're talking about
stamina
and energy.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about recovery. And different nutrients are involved in each of those various processes.
Yeah.
And so we're looking again at the B complex, vitamin D, vitamin A. We're looking at calcium.
Vitamin C too?
Vitamin C, calcium, magnesium, all the electrolytes, sodium, potassium. In fact, for athletes, electrolyte depletion can be a very serious problem, causing a whole host of symptoms, which is why a lot of athletes and athletic coaches recommend taking electrolyte supplements.
Yeah. And what are the specific nutrient combinations that enhance carb metabolism?
The vitamin B complex are extremely important. And as I mentioned earlier, all the B complex nutrients naturally found in wheat and rye and other grains have all been stripped away.
Yeah.
So now you've got a double problem. You've got a high carbohydrate diet with virtually no nutritional support.
Yeah. And so are those all the same nutrients that affect blood sugar, or would those be different?
They are very, very similar because the nutrients that affect blood sugar are directly related to carbohydrate consumption, because refined carbohydrates are going to turn to blood sugar. And chromium is especially important, along with vanadium. And regulating and sparing glucose, because what that does is it helps to reduce the amount of insulin production, which is at the heart of type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, and if you're on a high carbohydrate diet, you're kind of on that path anyway.
Oh, you're not on the path, you're racing down the road.
Yeah. So if you think that you know the risks of eating too many carbs, the truth might surprise you that you're learning how to use supplements smart and using them to stay healthy on that diet, even a carb heavy diet. And we talked a little bit about how B vitamins can help with fatigue and weakness. Do vegetarians need B vitamin supplements for energy also, or are they able to get it from their foods?
The B complex nutrients, especially B12, is almost totally missing from a vegetarian diet.
Yeah.
And
they think they can get all their nutrients from food, and it's just not possible.
It's like the illusion that everybody has, because that nonsense is being constantly promoted by dietitians. Oh, all you need to do is eat a balanced diet. Well, first of all, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
They don't tell you. They just eat a balanced diet.
Yeah.
Okay, now what? Well, the fact of the matter is that 95% of us do not eat a balanced diet.
Yeah.
And
it's hard too.
Yeah, and 100% of us can't get the nutrients we need from food because of refining, processing, poor fertilization of farmlands, so the nutrients aren't there. I mean, it goes all the way back to the seeds.
Yeah. And so How does magnesium help to break down carbs?
Well, magnesium is one of the more powerful electrolytes that we have. It is the opposite electrolyte of calcium.
Yeah.
And magnesium is important for utilization of carbohydrates or utilization of blood sugar.
Making use of it.
Yes, giving it the body's ability to absorb what benefit there is from the carbohydrate consumption.
So chromium supplements help to prevent, or chromium supplements help to support insulin resistance then?
Yes, and the reason why they do that is that they help to slow the transfer of glucose into the bloodstream. And it is blood sugar or glucose that causes the body to stimulate insulin production, which is, again, at the heart of type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
Another thing we've been lied about for years is that type 2 diabetes is a disorder of excess blood sugar. It is not. It's a disorder of excess insulin production.
And so how does zinc support insulin and carbohydrate breakdown?
The biggest concentration of zinc among adults is in insulin production.
Okay.
And so if you don't have adequate zinc, then your body's producing insulin that is not as effective.
Oh, okay.
So again, we're creating that we're racing down that road to where if the insulin isn't as effective, then the body has to produce more of it.
More of it to make it do what it wants to do.
Yeah.
And so why is magnesium considered a metabolic activator?
Because of its electrolyte potential.
Oh, okay.
So you've got sodium, potassium, magnesium. I mean, calcium is also one, but it's not an activator. So you've got...
Well, manganese, too, is considered a
manganese is up there. It is not an electrolyte, but it is up there as a cofactor, for sure.
Okay. And how do sodium and potassium assist in carbohydrate metabolism?
Okay. When you eat anything, but especially carbs, there is residual matter.
Okay.
Residual junk.
Okay.
And while...
Like a byproduct.
Yeah. And while all the cells require glucose for energy, most of the time, there are circumstances when that's not the case, but most of the time, the cells produce waste.
Oh.
And it is through what we call the sodium-potassium pump that forces nutrients into each cell and removes the waste matter out of the cell.
Got it.
Afterwards. And that pumping action is what keeps cells healthy. And when that pumping action is decreased, which usually occurs with a potassium deficiency.
Okay.
Because your body needs 3 times more potassium than sodium.
Yeah.
And we don't very often
we
get
don't
that.
focus on that. We focus on too much salt.
Yeah. And
which is ridiculous.
That's a discussion for another day.
I mean, it's not
because the fact that salt causes all these things is just really not quite true.
Yeah.
I've always said that if you have adequate potassium, you don't have to worry about sodium.
Yeah. And I mean, that's not to say that you could be
licking salt blocks. No.
So that's another one. If you have any ideas for our next topic, we would love to hear about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. And we really appreciate you tuning in. And reach out to us if you have any ideas on topics.